This is an Alliance podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the 40 Code Podcast, soccer podcast for us. Talk about the intersection of black culture and soccer. I don't know about you guys, but it has been a lot in the past couple of days. And it's of course, you got your boy here, Grego here. Got TK on the ones and twos. And we were supposed to do a MLS Season Preview, but of course, there's just been so much that has happened the past couple of days. Well, hey, that is totally fine. But we are still joined by none other than from the Cooligans podcast, Mr. Polanco. What's going on with you?
It's an honor to be here. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, there's it's times like these where you're like, is anything I'm saying even significant or important? But there's that balance of I care about these things and everything is interconnected. It's not just how people are like, we don't want politics in sports, but politics is sports and sports is politics and racial relations and all these issues. You can't even enjoy the sport if you're not actively sharing and sharing the experience with everybody. So, these conversations are important.
Yeah, absolutely, man. How you hanging out, TK?
Man, it's been a very long day. It's been a very, very, very long day. I feel like from the time that I woke up, it's been one body shell shock after another, with something going on in the news or just football, politics. It's that was well said earlier, Christian. So yeah, that's what it's been.
Yeah, man. So let's jump right into it, because I feel like just today alone has been wild beyond words. But let's try to rewind this just at least a couple of days. Of course, thank you guys for joining us on your podcast apps: Apple, Google, iHeart, all of them. YouTube, all of them. Let's get right up into it. There's TK's over here with this old school Chelsea shirt on, because I'm like, I'm not even sure like how we got here, but late Sunday night over in Europe, I think we were watching who was playing that late Sunday night game, but like all of a sudden Twitter blew up, Instagram blew up with news of...
Was that the Timbers? I forgot who was playing.
Yeah. News came out about 12 of the biggest teams in Europe were all saying, you know what? It's time we go ahead and pack our bags and join forces and join the Super League. And...
in the middle of the night is when imagine it's late for us. It is in the the sun has not even risen before they commit this this coup.
Yeah, like you have clubs like Liverpool, Man United, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juve, Inter Milan. I'm saving this for my up this week, but I need to give a quick shout out to Bayern Munich for just saying we're good on this. We're so good on this.
All the German clubs, they weren't interested. Yeah.
And but yeah, basically what we were supposed to be getting was a competition of 20 teams that would compete basically above the Champions League every year, and basically you're putting the best of the best against each other every year. Basically just put everything in European football and world football, said, oh, hell no. Hell to the damn no. And because basically, at least from how I interpret it, basically you would have a competition is in a lot of ways very American. where you have no relegation.
I learned it from watching you, Dad. You know, it was one of those.
But it's funny because like I joked about it over the weekend where we're it's like behind every villain is an evil white dude, and I'm like, here you got John Henry from FSG, you got the Glazers from Man United, and you had who else was in here? Who else on board?
Florentino Perez, the Real Madrid dude. I mean, he was the face of it over the weekend.
Hey, he's still trying to be the face of it. Like you say, yeah, I have not given up on this. This is my ship, my watch.
Yeah, he's like, she's gonna come back. I swear. Don't believe what everybody's saying. She loves me. You know.
Man, listen.
I'll be back.
But and then. The funny part there was that you would still have 5 clubs from elsewhere in Europe, by invitation. It's like, we don't know. We don't care if you might be good or not in your league, but hey, you're rich. Hey, come fuck with us.
Yeah. No clarity, no plan, just mess. They just put out the mess and expected people to embrace it.
Yeah, it's weird because, over the years, We've always heard about threats of a Super League, breakaway leagues and everything, and then, really enough, you wait for a FIFA just swat like a little like you ain't doing it this time. But apparently they were able to slip through the cracks and go as far as making the announcement. And needless to say, like I said, the whole world just kind of went like, oh shit, hell nah, and fast forward 48 hours later, everybody's like, can't do it. It's, not bad, man. I didn't mean to do it, no, just playing because, as FIFA said, UEFA said, if you do this, you're banned from your domestic leagues. Your players can't play international. Of course, mind you, they didn't even try to go that far as just to see if they could even press that legally. But hey, whatever works to shut this down, because I feel like, and it's what I paid most attention to in this whole thing. It's like the voice of the players who, they played Champions League, they played domestically, and it's like they won that competition, and it's something that they've all been, raised to believe in as part of what they as far as what football and what soccer is all about.
It's tradition. It's tradition. Yeah, and that is the thing that, Europe has that we do not. They have 100 years at the very least of this is how we do things. And when you try to change that, there are some things that, sometimes change is good, sometimes it's bad, but this is that overwhelming feeling of like, what people always say, soccer is the most popular religion in the world. It has more supporters and fans than Christianity, Islam, Judaism combined. So it is like you telling someone you can't practice your religion the way you wanted it to practice it. And do you think people would be upset? They would be like up in arms. They'd be like, no, that's not how we do things. And it's the easiest way to start a revolt. To essentially try to change the way football in Europe is played. It's different here.
I like how you put that.
Yeah, I mean, it's different here where there was no tradition, there was no culture. So whatever we got, we're like, all right, I guess this is how it's done. And people didn't even really question when NASL was here or when MLS started. It's like, all right, well, we don't have promotion relegation, but at least we have something. So
exactly.
This is like it's been amazing seeing the last 3 days have just been unbelievable amount. I would say for the popularity of the sport alone, just being Super League trending absolutely everywhere. People who don't know anything about soccer are like, yo, what is the Super League stuff? This is crazy. James Corden going crying on American television about what's going on. Seeing that is it's a win to some degree for what soccer means to people. And I think it opened people's eyes to how serious people, especially in Europe, take the game. So there's a lot to talk about and unpack. I mean, the interesting thing, especially today, you know, seeing the energy that these, especially Chelsea fans, they blocked their team bus.
That's the one over here. That's the one over here.
They got in the face of Petr Cech, a legend for the club, and he's begging them, pleading them, like, let the team go by. This is not the way to. And it's crazy because you hear the same, you know, the kick racism out the game and all this other stuff, and we see that, and we always ask, like, where's that energy for the things that are truly wrong within the game? And it's fascinating because Petr Cech saying this is not the way to protest. It's like, that's what they tell us. they say the same thing. It's crazy. They don't even see like the hypocrisy in their own behavior. And you see it. It's like you need, and honestly, and that photo, there's a bunch of photos of Petr Cech arguing with Chelsea supporters, and it's
the wildest thing.
It's a sea of young white male faces, and you see it, and you're like, "Yo, the only thing that gets them to act is when you take their toys away." This is
hello.
It's so crazy that that's what it takes. That's what it takes for them to show that passion over something what they perceive as injustice.
TJ, like, of course, you're our resident Chelsea guys. Like, how did you take that moment in?
Man, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, that was one of the bombshells for me today. It was just, you know, like pulling up my social feed for 30 seconds and seeing Petr Cech like screaming, like saliva coming out of his mouth. You know, the supporters there that were, you know, there in protest, and rightfully so, man. Especially with Chelsea in particular, because we have a pitch organization, excuse me, a CPO. So it's like we actually own part of the pitch. So like that was part of the deal with Chelsea when the club got taken over with Ken Bates way back in the day. But it's just crazy, man. The whole thing is just crazy. I'm just kind of in disbelief, honestly. And then for it to be like Roman Abramovich to kind of break first on, was it Forbes, I guess?
Yeah, the news.
It's all really, really sleazy. I said fuckery was coming around the corner last week, but I had no clue it would be to this degree, if you will.
Said, hold my beer.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I mean, for this to all happen, it's like, I just want to enjoy a nice 420, you know? Like, come on.
I want to be high, man. This is crazy.
Listen, I think after everything that's happened today, you know, hopefully everyone's lighting up responsibly, but man, it is absolutely absurd.
Okay. It's self-care. It is self-care at this point.
It really is. It absolutely is. But yeah, man. It's
culture. It was eloquent, so eloquent. As we, as people of color, we've earned that. At least one. You know, out of all nights, we've earned it.
Absolutely, man. Of course, we could go on about it. I'm pretty sure. Of course, the ramifications on this still haven't been all the way felt out because there's still a chance of sanctions against the teams that joined. But
we're gonna get fined. Absolutely. Every club that jumped on the carousel for this fuckery is going to be fined. Absolutely. There's no way that doesn't happen.
UEFA is getting the belt. It's going to be serious.
It doesn't help that like the president of UEFA looks like a Bond villain. So you already know shit's about to go down. So,
yeah.
But yeah, we're going to take a quick break. Got more with Christian later. Got a word from protagonist, and we'll be right back. And we're back. We'll be rejoined by Christian later on in the show. But you know, it's been so much the past couple of days that you know what happens. Like Jose Mourinho getting fired went from like probably like maybe the first thing on the news to like all of a sudden it went down to like 6.
Not even.
And,
that's being generous.
Yeah, and it's weird because I can honestly say that it never felt like Spurs was a good fit for him at all. And like there were little glimpses here and there, but for the most part, it was like, yeah, you're just doing this, for a nice check. Hopefully fans will be there by the time Spurs get good. But yeah, it never got off the way that they hoped.
It's actually kind of a shame because I'm a fan of Jose. Like, the guy is a Class A personality, and you really can't take that away from him at all. Like, you'll never be able to take that away from him, as a matter of fact. But he's just been a waning influence on clubs, on players, and their development. Yeah. And even on the media, you could say, and us as just regular supporters, if you will, neutrals, I guess. So it's just been kind of like the writing on the wall. Maybe to Jose, he was thinking he can go to Spurs and turn it around for himself and, perhaps get himself into another final, which he was still essentially doing because he won the Europa League with and he could have won the Europa League with Spurs. However, that's not an option anymore.
The funny thing there is that, I don't know how true it is or not, but I think at least, how Twitter can be at times, like they were saying that Spurs was going to use the Super League money to go ahead and pay him off. And I guess look for somebody new. But of course, I'm like, okay, looking at who's out there, who are you going to hire?
Yep.
And
great question.
And who's going to want that right now? Because it's Spurs. They're probably not going to win a top 4 spot.
No. Let's deal in absolutes. Let's spell it out. Like, not going to get top 4. Continue.
Yeah. And they're already out of Europa League, right?
Check.
So, yeah, you're pretty much – so, needless to say, you're about to lose Harry Kane next year.
Triple check.
Probably Heung-min Son this summer. Like, you're about to go through some shit.
Exactly.
And, hell, even if he had stayed, he'd probably be like, you know what? I'm good. Like, this club's about to be on the slide, so I'm gonna go ahead and slide on out my damn self, And it's so crazy because I've been saying this for quite some time. You probably have heard this on past episodes. I honestly think that he has been the same since he left Real Madrid. I think
that's what
that job burned him out.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, that's when it happened. That's exactly when it happened.
And like he's had his successes, since then, here and there. Of course, he went back to Chelsea, won the league, and then got fired because they're better than here.
Discord.
Say again.
Palpable discord.
Yeah, and of course he had his thing at Man United. He even managed to win Europa League with United, but like even then, you could just tell that it just seemed like he wasn't connecting the same players. Nobody was like going through the wall for him anymore like they were at Chelsea and Inter Milan. Like it, like you said, the influence was just no longer there like it once was. And I think that after a while, people just kind of catch up to what your shtick is, what your approach is, and like some people will tune it out. Some people be like, you know what? It's all right for about 3 weeks, and afterwards, I'm just ready to just go ahead and just.
I mean, the thing is, really, I don't feel like Jose is still an incapable manager in affecting players in the positive. I just think that he has such a strict way of proceeding forward with what he wants to do and how he structures his team that when he decides to leave a player out, he leaves a player out, there's no communication. And it was actually very interesting because Pogba has been in the news, for other reasons. But he recently struck a deal with Amazon to like a pug documentary, or it's a documentary, put a spin on that. However, it came out already. There's like a minute clip where he talks about the relationship with Jose and how it is to be left out of his team specifically. And you can really hallmark this with specific players in every team that he's been the manager at. Mata, for instance, before he was at United.
At Chelsea, yeah.
Or who was a player at United? Was it maybe Shaw?
Shit. Of course, everybody knows about Pogba. I think that. Who else can I think of there? Martial was hit or miss. Of course, he's still hit or miss, and everything. But like,
summer,
it's definitely telling because, like, during his first term at Chelsea and also at Inter Milan, like, you had guys who were willing to go through the walls for Mourinho and just go all out every single week, and it's just not connecting as well anymore, and I've kind of likened it to when Jordan retired the first time, and he said he was just burnt out and just the love of the game wasn't the same as it used to be. And then he went to play minor league baseball, and he rediscovered that love. And as much as it is a joke, I actually do think that he would probably do himself a world of good coming over here to MLS. Because I feel like, one, he's always been a fan of coming over here to the U.S. anyway. And I feel like just to be away from that grinder for, like I said, it could be a year, it could be 2 years, doesn't have to be necessarily long, but I think that he needs that time away from that pressure cooker and still be able to focus on the game and just be able to breathe. Because I feel like the more he keeps getting reused, especially in England, the less effective he's only going to get less effective to the point where he'll be at Scunthorpe at some point, just like, you know what, I'm just here with a check.
Yeah, man. I think you highlighted it really well. There's just no one that, player-wise, is willing to fall on the sword for him anymore, which is unfortunate because that's the whole thing with managers is that's half the relationship, in my opinion, is their ability to motivate their players, whether it be mentally, physically, however that needs to be on the field, off the field, to better themselves as players as a whole. So that's unfortunate. But what team would he go to? It's not just like a pluck him at Montreal kind of thing.
You know what?
Because it suits the style of the league in general, as far as like his tactical approach to the game.
I'd probably say what?
It was a pun for me, but San Jose.
Actually, what's funny? I was actually thinking probably the same thing. I see California, of course, Galaxy have already made their hire with Greg Vanney, and I think they're probably going to commit to him for a while. LAFC's good with Bob Bradley. I want to say Almeida almost left over the off season, so I would think that if one job came available, it might be that one. I can see that one. If I had to go like a big market, I would probably say Chicago, because I think that their club and a team that's in need of a bit of a star factor, I guess you could say, especially with them now back in the city, back playing at Soldier Field. I think that can generate some buzz for that team. Of course, Jake and Phil might kill me for that one, but I think that would probably, like, if big market wise, that would probably be one that would fit. I don't see him doing like Miami. I don't see him doing NYCFC or Red Bulls. I think that I think Chicago will probably be it. And make that work.
So if he doesn't do, or hypothetically speaking, of course, it's all speculation. However, if it wasn't a California alternative in San Jose, then I think he doesn't go full East Coast, and I think he lands in Texas because he still is conscientious of wanting to like international travel, and so like California is already a pretty long flight.
Yeah.
So I think he ends up in Texas, like Houston.
Okay. Yeah. Of course, you guys let us know what you guys think. If would Mourinho fit in MLS at all, and if so, let us know. Let us know on the social FTC UTD on Twitter, Facebook. Some of y'all sometimes respond on Instagram, but no, at least Twitter and Facebook. But of course, we're going to still try to do some bit of predictions for this season. So we're going to pay a quick bill, and we'll be back on the flip. Of course, Christian Polanco will be back with us for 2 Up, 2 Down, and stick with us. All right. I know this episode's been kind of, all over the place, and I promise you that actually, we got some more good stuff for you guys. But yeah, this was supposed to be our MLS season preview. That kind of got blew up with the Super League, and then they really thought this was going to work. They really thought this was going to work.
I mean, it's like you get away with it. It's how all the good movies start. The villain wins at first. I thought they were going to get away with it.
And I've heard a lot of different arguments, online as far as like, how do we get here? And especially considering that you could kind of argue that MLS in itself is kind of its own Super League, just in the format of it and how it's constituted. Of course, everything kind of goes back to, the influence from the NFL. And I think that even with the Super League, you can kind of see like it kind of had its own thing where, like, of course, here we do everything throughout the whole nation. And over there, they're like, hey, we're going to just do it all over the continent. Just like, basically the biggest cities are the ones that will be involved, Milan, Manchester, London, Barcelona, Madrid, shit like that. But, of course, the EPL teams have all pulled out, Listen, I'll say this much. I was very prepared to pull out of any support of Man United if this all went. I was like, I already have room for one closed league. I can't do two. I can't do it.
That was it? You were just ready to throw in the towel?
Yeah, I mean, like, they're supposed to be the example as far as, what we try to make what our system is. Of course, I've already conceded to the fact that it won't be like it 100%, but, at least the influence, at least the foundation, I hope that one day we could get that where that competition does go from the biggest teams in the country to the smallest teams. And I definitely just saw the danger of, okay, if you allow this, how does that incentivize for one those top teams, and also how does it affect the teams that remain in domestic leagues? Like, because UEFA was like, we're gonna cut you off if you join these leagues, because that automatically makes the Champions League less viable.
Yep.
Which means it makes the Europa League less viable.
Yep.
And that just trickles down. And I think the funny part was that Florentino Perez, the president of Real Madrid, he went on this late night talk show in Spain, and was really talking some trickle down economics bullshit, talking about like, okay, we got to get the money first, and then we'll distribute it around to everybody else. I'm like, we lived that shit here. I'm like,
don't work.
That's a whole bunch of bullshit.
It does not work.
It does not work whatsoever.
Yeah.
But somehow they want to convince us that, yeah, this will be perfect. This will be absolutely great. I'm like, I'm so, but it does, seeing the response from the people, as people, supporters, of course, actually, y'all really about to, rip up Peter Check. Like,
honestly, it was so much more than that, man, because they, and a lot like a lot of the supporters across the country of the UK, they went to their respective top 6 club and, put banners on the fence and let their voices be heard of discontent. So when it came time for, it being match day with a home match at Chelsea against Brighton, so, it was so good to see people demonstrate that way. But, it's just like you want to see some of that same energy devoted towards eliminating some other issues that are currently presiding in soccer worldwide, globally. And so it would be nice to take the wave of this movement and push that energy towards something else that could create change for good. I'm just over here trying to
like our man Yogi said, it's funny how they were all quick to jump in arms about Super League, but have they really done anything about racism? Nah.
Yeah. Shout out to actually, man. I guess I could be it up, but I don't know if I can hold it in.
Well, it's good. We still are top 4. So
I mean, yeah, you're right. I suppose. I don't know. It's good. Some of the players have spoken out about it in relationship to what I just mentioned. So we'll just leave it at that. We'll move on with these predictions. Get into it while we're still talking domestically per se.
Yeah. So of course the season just started this past weekend. Of course, for some of the teams in the Champions League, of course they all made it to the first round, which is like my first time ever, I think. So definitely shout out to them for at least handling business during our first round. Of course, like I said last week, it's about that trophy. So this is cool, but
need that silverware.
Eyes on the prize. Mm-hmm. Eyes on the prize. But
I mean, we got.
Of course, we're going to give our
MLS automatically in the semis the way the bracket breaks down. So there's some hope for the league to domestically or to internationally, hypothetically, advance. So
we got it's our guys in Philly. So no matter what, we got one team in the semi. So we will see how that goes. Of course, we're going to give our way too early MLS predictions. Who you got for your top 4 for the season? Like, who you got?
Unfortunately, I have to give weight to the Champions League teams for just the manner in which that they're playing currently, to be starting essentially our season, having only a few weeks of training with their teammates. It's really encouraging to see MLS as a league be as competitive as they are against the Mexican teams and some of the other South American teams. So I'm super encouraged by that. With that being said, I am going with Philly to win the Supporters Shield again. Mm-hmm. I think that they cruise through it. I think Columbus slips and stumbles, but they'll be second. I think Atlanta can. I guess this is just my Phoenix Rising moment. So I got Atlanta, the home team, as a third, and then for fourth, I guess, yeah. I don't know. Maybe LA. No, I think I don't have too much faith in LA. Actually, no, I feel like it. I didn't watch their match, but.
I did watch the LAFC match. Like, why in the world did Villa get taken out? I thought he was injured and he wasn't.
They're really sub. I don't know. To round up my top 4, we'll just give it to one of the Pacific Northwest teams. So if I was going to flip a coin for Portland or draw a blank now. Portland
Seattle.
or Seattle. I'd probably Seattle actually.
Okay.
I think
go ahead.
I said I think they can use it. They got the bogey of Jordan Mortis riding on them.
Yeah. It's just a shame though. He won't be playing this year.
At all.
That's just really unfortunate. But I will say that it was cool seeing Freddie Montero, one of the original MLS Thunders, back in action. Of course, they smacked up on Minnesota something serious 4-0. I actually do think that Minnesota's a team that will cause trouble. They're not top 4, but they will cause a lot of trouble in court.
No, I agree. The Loons are, I think they're the next best expansion team after Atlanta, provided they don't have a shit season that we did last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they definitely had a strong finish last year, and just had still be able to have most of that team together. Come playoff time, that's not a team that I would enjoy facing out with. I'll just put it like that. But as far as my top 4, I definitely think that once they move into their new stadium, Columbus is going to be very hard to beat. They opened up their new stadium, I think it's July 4th, if I'm mistaken. So definitely looking forward to seeing what they do in that new stadium. And I didn't realize that they were still playing in Old Crew Stadium up until then. So it's kind of cool at the same time. It would have been cool if they just had left that last memory of MLS Cup last year being like the last memory that you see of that stadium. But it is what it is. I do see the home team bouncing back. The one thing is probably going to determine that is how soon Joseph bounces back from his from the knee injury, because it's definitely been clear. It's a little fluffier started up the season, so he's not able to do a whole 90 just yet. The way I'm seeing it, he's probably not going to be 100% probably until maybe June. Maybe end of May, something like that. But that's something to definitely keep an eye out on. But I love where our back line is. I love that. We still have our designated player on Franco that has yet to debut. So for us to look this good already, and he's still yet to play, we just got to get tagged together, and I think it will be good. Like you said,
great.
Yeah, the Cascadia teams are always tough. I'm actually going to go on the other side and put Portland in my top 4, and I'm gonna make my 4th a possible like spades, and I'm gonna say Galaxy, because I've always been a big fan of Greg Vanny. I thought that we should have given him a stronger look here in Atlanta. That's how far I would go with it. But I do think, once they start to figure things out, it looks like Chicharito's already, picking things up right away. He got two goals on Saturday, which already matched his total from last year.
Exactly. The task wasn't hard to begin with, but we'll see. Well, I think we should have the Chicharito conversation. And maybe 2 months time. I think that's
right.
Be honestly more appropriate. Just give the guy some time. Let's see if he beds in, and if he doesn't, then we call it for what it is.
That's a possible book right there. It's a possible book. That's how keep it spaced out. But who else will probably be strong this year?
Austin ain't looking too hot.
It will shock me if Austin is at least decent. I don't expect them to necessarily, challenge right away, but it won't shock me if they're at least decent. I'll probably say, like, if you compare, like, where we were 2017, maybe a step below that. Because, I mean, like, they've had all the time in the world to really build their team up. So
Right.
I definitely think that they'll be able, like, if you ever, like, pay attention to it, most of the teams that have, most of the expansion teams that come in, if they've had, like, 2-3 years to kind of set things up, usually they do better sooner rather than later, whereas compared to, like, Natty or Minnesota, like, they had to kind of, like, throw things in at the last minute. And starting off, they were just, like, god-awful. And, like, they eventually got good. So
More of the
I would lean towards...
I mean, right?
But, so what?
This is more of the Nashville route, essentially.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm putting the asterisk on Nashville just because you had like 12 teams that made a play that like in a normal year they wouldn't have made the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. But I feel like they, it's roster wise, Nashville. I'm not even sure who the GM is off the top of my head, but they were able to work out some things to have the roster be to their advantage as far as the players that were trade into the squad.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to it, especially for Nashville and Miami. Of course, we already saw in Miami how they had all those people there, but I will say that because they didn't get a chance to really have that first year buzz like we did, and have those fans and say like, "Hey, check out this scene and everything." I'm hoping that the buzz in those cities hasn't died completely, to where they still want to take those teams out and they can regain the momentum and everything.
It'll be all right.
I'm sure in Austin, once their stadium opens up, I think theirs opens up in June. Of course, being Texas, I'm pretty sure they'll be finished like right away. So, yeah. So you at least will be able to see what their culture is about. Hopefully we can get on some of their supporters on the show and just kind of like get an idea as far as like what's been building down there, because it's been intriguing to see. Because those of y'all that don't know, the state of Texas as a whole, whether it's Dallas or Houston, it's always been like kind of up and down as far as their fan support. Now it's like Austin's been very different in that regard. So I know we know some Verde, we know some Austin Anthem people, but so give us a shout out. Of course, because this week has just been a mess. What I'd hope to do this week, but what we're actually going to do for next week, like we did last year for our season preview, we want to hear from you guys, and like basically give us a 30-minute, not 30 minute, 30-second clip as far.
The show's
Right. Give us like a 30 to 45-second clip as far as like why you think your team will win MLS Cup, or maybe you think they'll win Supporter Shield. Give us that. Hit us up at contact@ftcutd.com with your clip. We'll put it in next week's show. Like I said, we definitely want to hear from you guys because, again, we feel like, we're a supporter just like you. So we definitely want to hear about that. My prediction for Supporter Shield will be Columbus. Like I said, I think because I feel how they backload the home games once the stadium opens up. They're going to have that home pitch advantage. So I definitely think that they'll push through and get Supporter Shield. I don't think that they'll repeat. I think that they'll pull United and lose like the conference finals to us. And
like how New York's on our Supporter Shield the second year.
Yeah. And I do think that I feel like the cards are in our favor as far as MLS Cup. don't want to go as far as say that we'll win MLS Cup. I'm going to say, that's the thing. Who would come out west? Because like, I'm gonna say Portland. I think you get a 2018 rematch, and it'll probably be over out in Portland. United versus Timbers, and Timbers will squeak that out.
Your lack of faith is disappointing.
I would love to be wrong. I would absolutely love to be wrong.
Sure.
I'm doing the reverse shakes and saying that
right.
it'll be Portland. So yeah, think it up here, man. Think it up here.
Yeah, that was smart,
But yeah, like I said, those of y'all who want to be included in next week's show, give us your predictions for your club next year. For this year, give us a shout, and we'll make that happen for next week's show. But on the flip, we will be back with Christian. We'll have to show up, our 2 up and down, of course, talk about everything with conviction with Derek Chauvin, and then also having the day with MaKhia Bryant. I'm like, it just does not stop, and it's just absolutely infuriating. But yeah, like I said, we're ending things on a positive note with Christian. But yeah, we'll be back, and we're back. I need to make a quick apology to my guy Christian.
Okay.
Because he's one of our guys that bought one of our beautiful Legend of the Culture hoodies back when they were on sale. They got delayed, and but come to find out, once I finally got word, of course we finally got everything straightened out. So it actually is on the way as we speak. Hopefully it's still cold up there. Are you in Jersey, New York?
I'm right by New York, but I'm in North Jersey. Don't worry.
Is it still cold up there?
It is not. I'll just sweat in it, bro. It's all good. It's so funny. I kind of just forgot about it. I'm like, yeah. Sometimes I order stuff and then I completely forgot about it. But yeah, now that you remind me, I'm upset. Where's my hoodie? I want to support Crystal Dunn, bro. Why are you preventing me from doing that?
Hey, I will make up for that. I got something that I got something for you. So trust me, we will definitely make a man on that. Something that you can wear definitely more in the summertime. So we got you.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you.
Of course, for everybody else out there, this week we do have 20% off on all name sets and nameplates at ftcutd.myshopify.com. So get your jerseys right. We got all that stuff. Of course, we still got crap. It's been a lot today. Like I'm trying to get everything all up. But yes, make sure hook it up. Of course, it helps us make our show better and all that good jazz. So hit us up at ftcutd.myshopify.com. All right, now. Cool. I want to touch on this real quick before we head out, because I feel like obviously, as much as the up is for Derek Chauvin getting real guilty for his conviction, of course, not even 30 minutes afterwards, we get news of MaKhia Bryant getting shot in Columbus, and it definitely just keeps things in perspective that as soon as one thing ends, another thing starts, and it's like the cycle keeps on going. And it's like, it's just been crazy. Like this year, it seems like there's been like a shooting every week, every
40
few days.
Shootings in 30 days.
Yeah,
46.
And that's just, you would think at some point, the government would get involved and just, hey, enough's enough. Like, we need to stop on each other and hurting each other.
It makes me feel like as technology has as we have gotten so much more interconnected, it is impossible to to detach from, if you're on social media, it's impossible to detach from terrible things happening in the world. Like, terrible things used to happen in the world, and we used to not know about it. And now that is impossible. Right. So it's almost like I don't think human beings were meant to consume so much tragedy. It's really, I mean, the trauma is, and especially for people of color, it's obviously worse, particularly in this country, but human beings are just not meant to see so much absolute terror every day. And it's just so accessible. And that's why, that's what makes today so even more challenging, because we were hoping for that, of being on the precipice of justice and some positivity and turning a corner, and you realize, we're still on the same block. Yeah. We haven't turned anything. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, damn, we're still sitting on this little square foot.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. It's fortunate, hope. Thankfully, we got some accountability with murder of George Floyd, but but I do want to, at least wrap up the show on a positive note. Oh, before we get out of here, first of all, I'm just make my ups real quick. Shout out to Oakland Roots. They had Marshawn Lynch join the ownership group this past week. Of course, he's talent business all the time out there, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what he has out there. And also, and again, shout out to the Bundesliga teams. Shout out to Portuguese teams. Even shout out to PSG, even though they technically have TV conflicts that prevent them to doing Super League. But all y'all that said no, you roll with y'all. Like I said, I'm going to have to find me a German team. Shout out to guy Jake at 50 Plus Donor.
When I was in Germany 2 years ago, and you really get that sense of that, the 50+1 rule, and the fans own 51% of the club, so they're the majority. They can make the majority decision for any big decisions for the club, and it is such a strong belief that we went to 2 games, one in Dusseldorf and one in Frankfurt, and both games you would see people selling like shirts and jerseys and scarves and stuff, and they were all there will always be somebody that has a scarf that said "fuck RB Leipzig" in English, like right there, because everybody hates RB Leipzig for how they got into Bundesliga. And if you don't know the story, they essentially, Red Bull bought like a team in the absolutely like lower levels, and mess with the rules or whatever. They got through and they got to the top in Bundesliga. So they're the one team that are not playing by this 50+1 rule, and it's and everybody hates it. So that's when all the Super League stuff, even the German clubs, they handled it well, but realistically, they couldn't do anything else, because the supporters would have never even allowed. It wasn't even a conversation. God. Wasn't even a thing. It was like, no, not even. Just don't even utter those words, because there's no way it's happening.
Serious? Are you serious right now? Are you? How dare you open your mouth? Before we get out of there, I meant to ask you, John, during the earlier segment, what's your top 4 for MLS?
Top 4 teams. All right. Especially after seeing the first week, I'm going to have to say, there's going to be bias because the CCL teams do look pretty good as well, because they do. They move through. So
for once, they actually use it to their advantage. So I like that.
So the recency bias is going to be a little bit strong, but I do think I'm going to say Timbers. I'm going to say I got to throw NYCFC in there because those are the rules. You got to do it. They're gonna be there. Okay. And then I think it's difficult to go against Columbus and Philly. I mean, especially they just played and they both look like strong clubs. But it's also. It's surprising, especially since Philly lost key players. But I think Columbus is it's like stacked. They have even though they brought in like older dudes, and it's like, all right, well, still it's not fair to bring Bradley Wright Phillips and Kevin Molino, because even if Jazzy Zardes gets hurt or whatever, those are pretty good replacements to put up top. So those are my top four, and then I think a team that's gonna shock people this season, it's going to be the LA Galaxy. I think they're going to turn things around. That's a fifth, but that's just a wild card.
Okay, I'll take that. And are we going with, I know you got the home team and everything. Are we going with NYCFC or the field for MLS Cup?
Wait, NYCFC to go for MLS Cup?
Yeah.
Yes, why not? Who cares, right?
All in.
Look, I think they lost to DC United in a tough game. They started last season not super strong and ended up in fifth in the Eastern Conference. They got some new signings. They have, I think the identity of the team is going to be a little reshaped because they traded away Alex Ring to Austin. But I think they signed a Brazilian dude with one name, so we in a good position.
You already know what's up.
All right.
Shit's just got real.
It's just Thiago. Don't ask me for my full government. All right.
Oh man, of course, we definitely got to get you and Alexis back on ASAP. For those of you who might be living on the rock and don't know these guys, where can they find y'all on the socials?
At Soccer Cooligans on everything. We do, obviously, we're Alexis and I, we're both stand-up comics. We do, I'm getting my second shot of the vaccine next week. I'm hoping to do stand-up comedy again, be on the road. So look out for that. But at Soccer Cooligans, and then every Sunday, 7 p.m., Fubo Sports Network. That's it was a podcast, and now it is a TV show on Fubo TV. So please check that out, FuboSportsNetwork.com.
Podcast goals.
It's a miracle. I don't know how it happened, bro.
But yeah, man. As always, you can catch us at social FTC UTT. Yeah, it's been a wild episode again. Thank you so much for coming through in the clutch, Christian. Again, everybody out there, stay encouraged, stay focused. Stay safe out here, please, because it's so much going on out here, and enough of us are there's too many of us dying, and you need to stick together as much as you can. But until next week, for me, for TK, for Christian, focus real, focus everywhere. We will see y'all soon. Hopefully out here in the stadiums. Yeah.
Thanks again. Peace.
Trouble.